On this episode of The Career Musician, we have an amazing story of hope and triumph. Mr. Jose Elias picked up the saxophone at the age of 7, and at 7:15 on January 9th, 2015, he was in the middle of recording his last track for his upcoming album when he suffered a massive stroke. While no one expects this to happen, he is grateful that he is alive and well to tell his story. Eli was presented with the opportunity to have a modified saxophone built, a form of the instrument that only requires one hand for playing instead of two. Now, anybody who knows anything about the saxophone, this is huge. It's not just a big step for Eli, but for everyone in the future, as this could potentially change the game for all saxophonists. Now, we are joined in this interview by our mutual best friend, Richie Peña. Richie is not only an amazing musician, but just an amazing person all around. Richie shares with us the story from his perspective and tells us a little bit more about what it's really like to work with somebody like Eli and experience that kind of transformative faith. Without further ado, I bring you Jose Elias and Richie Peña right here on The Career Musician with a story that will surely touch all of our hearts. And on that note, with Santa Claus's legs sticking out of the Christmas tree that's spinning around behind you, Jose Elias, this is a perfect time to welcome you to the Career Musician Podcast. My brothers Richie Peña and Jose Elias, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. This is nice. Three friends catching up.
That's right. That's right. With our fourth new friend. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's right, guys. I just
All right. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Nomad, the Career Musician. I created the podcast and also the Career Musician platform. This is my business partner, Eric G, my trusty, dusty understudy, everything, man. He's the man. He helps me out. So welcome, everybody. And today we're talking with Richie and Jose Elias about some very cool stuff. Let me set the stage. Richie and I go back in early 2000s, I think 2002, 2003, something like that. We met in Nashville, although we're both from New York. Richie is of Puerto Rican descent, and he's a drummer and a percussionist, but he's also a producer, a programmer and a producer and a songwriter. I met Jose Elias through Richie, and you also, Eli, you're from Puerto Rican descent, but you lived in New York, New Jersey area, I believe, most of your life?
Yes, all my life.
And you're a saxophone player, songwriter, producer, and you have an amazing story. So I really appreciate you guys being here. And I want to start off with you, Eli. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and, you know, how you got started in music. I always like to say, how did the music bug bite you?
Oh, man. So that's interesting because I was 5 years old. Like, I had no clue what it was. My mother used to watch a TV show called Cooking with Joya or something like that. But the music would start the show and there was always a saxophone that came on. Like, he would be ripping it. And I would just tell my mother, Mom, I like what that is. We didn't know what it was. I said, I want to do that. And she would be like, okay, whatever. And, I was 5 years old. So then I go to Puerto Rico, right? Spend time there, 2 years or 3, come back. And then, we come back and we have no home. We stayed where I stayed with my grandmother. And, as a kid, you're playing around and you're looking through stuff, their own, little stuff underneath the bed. And I opened this box. And this box, that moment was like, ah! Inside the box was a shiny saxophone. And I was like, what is this? So it so happens that my aunt was a marching band at the time. She was playing in the marching band, and that was a saxophone. And then it was underneath the bed, and I took it out, and I asked her if I could fool around with it. And that was it. I was 7 at that time, and I started honking for years, and then finally it all came through. But I just kept on honking. Wow. That's how you start out off on the saxophone. You honk.
That you honk. That's right. Any brass or reed woodwind instrument is really difficult to get a good tone from, especially in the beginning, right?
In the beginning. And then, listen, there was one more thing that went against me so I come from a Christian family, right? So I go to school, and in school, they see you're Puerto Rican, you're like, okay, you're going to like to learn this song. So they give me Guantanamera to learn, right? Yeah. So I bring that home. and I'm like honking, right? And my mother's in the kitchen or whatever she's doing, and I'm honking da 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 da. That's all, because they only gave you like the first line of it. My mother burst through the door and she says, "No, you're not gonna play this in this house. I'm gonna play something for you to play." She comes back. They used to sell these books with songs for kids.
Yeah.
She pulled out a book like that, and then she had me play This Little Light of Mine. So I'm like, okay, here, I'm in trouble. The good thing is that I knew the words, so you can kind of honk to the words. So that was on a Tuesday, because I remember the day, because it was so amazing, like that whole scenario that happened. That was on a Tuesday. Thursday I went. I told the teacher, "Listen, I did not practice Guantanamera," and I told the whole story. And she goes, "Well, show me what you did." And I just played This Little Light of Mine. And she was like, "Yo, that's pretty good," because it kind of had more of that than what she had given me. Because in the little book, it was the whole song. So I learned the whole song,
That's awesome.
That was my experience, because my mother just cut me off real quick. She was like, at my house.
So hold on. As a Puerto Rican, your mother was like, "We ain't gonna have no Cuban songs in my house. It's a Puerto Rican house." I'm half Cuban, so I'm like, "Yo, what's the rest? You kidding? Come on."
That sounded like her. Like she was like, no, we are a Christian home. We shall play Christian music, and that was it, man. I mean, she kind of let go as years went by, but that's the way I started, basically, with that. And like the bug, you say, right? So what happens with the bug is it's the most pure experience. Like once you get it, there's nothing else you can do. Like everything, like for me, when that bug hit me, there was nothing else that can replace that. That's all I did. I would practice right after school, or anybody that lived near me in the projects, because I lived in the projects, they could tell you that, while we were playing baseball or playing outside, we could hear Eli or Jose Elias practicing all the time. I practiced so much, and but I had a lot of fun.
And that's the way it is. Like you said, the passion hits. Once that passion sets in, then the determination takes over. And that's when we practice, 3, 4, 5, up to 10, 12 hours a day. We can't stop, right?
Hey, listen, I don't know if this happened to you, but I would fall asleep with my horn like right beside me, because that bug will not let you go. That this is going to be an old life thing. There's people that do it a little bit, but no, it's like forever.
That's a good bug. Yeah, that's the good kind that you want.
Yeah.
Richie, tell us about your background, man, and how that bug bit you.
Man, it sucks because I couldn't sleep with my instrument. I can't sleep with a drum set.
You could. It would just be awkward.
It would just be a little weird, uncomfortable.
You can't say that until you've tried.
Yeah, that's true. Tonight I'm going to try it, Eric. I'm going to kick my wife out.
We're an open-minded society now, so
Well, that's right.
No, mine is so funny because, I also grew up in a church. And the craziest thing was I didn't have like a love for it at all. My grandmother used to force us to go to church, and as the household that we were, and she would grab me and whatever friends were on the streets and let's go, we're going to church. And at those times they would make the kids do like a small service on their own, and they would put each of us on an instrument, whether you liked it or not. It would be like, okay, you're playing drums. I was like, all right. And then someone had a guitar, and they had a bass and they had a keyboard. They would just make kids play and like find themselves.
Wow.
And so my thing was every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday going with my grandmother, and I would play drums, but it was forced. It wasn't anything.
But it came natural.
It was one of those things that came natural, and what ended up happening was I thought I was going to be actually a baseball player. I thought I was going to play for the Yankees. That was my love. That was my passion. And I messed up my ankles sliding into second one time. And they were like, the doctor said, you got to do something with your ankles. You got to, strengthen them up. And I was like, I play drums. He was like, that's perfect. And that's when the bug kicked in. It was supposed to be like a relief, but I did it so much that I was like, man, I really like this now. And my dreams of a Yankee player never were going to happen. So,
yeah, but you know what? I could see you on the field because you have a tall, that tall, lanky kind of build. I could see you just throwing fastballs.
Oh, man, I loved it, bro. Baseball was my thing. I used to sleep with my baseball glove.
There's always something.
There was, yup. And that was my thing. I had my baseball glove in my backpack when we used to go to school, to the public school I used to go to in New York. And I used to carry that. That was my thing. So it was but it was the best hidden blessing that could ever happen. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, drums became my thing. And I met, some of the best people and family that I call today, you guys. Imagine, if I would have been a baseball player, I would have never met.
Well, your ego would have been way too big, and I definitely been able to.
Almost as big as the drummers.
Almost.
Oh boy!
Wow.
We got drummer jokes now.
Bro, when the drummer's on, there's always drummer jokes.
Okay, I got one.
All right, let's go.
What's the difference between a drummer and an onion?
What?
Nobody cries when you cut a drummer in half.
Oh, that was good, bro. That was good.
Okay, sorry. All right, staying focused. So here's the crazy part. I met Richie years ago, like I said, and we started working together right away. And then I met Eli by hanging out with Richie. And I always said to Richie, yo, I want you to come on the show. Let me do an interview. And he was always playing hard to get, shy. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know what I have to say. But he's crazy. Don't listen to him. He's got a ton of stuff to say. But then I saw a post that you made, Eli, about your story. And I'm just going right to it because I want to get to the meat and potatoes here. And it first of all, it touched me. And I'm not an overly sentimental guy, but when I read the story, I was like, whoa, like my eyes bugged out of my head. I was like, are you serious? Like, wow. And just the way it was written. I think Richie posted it first, and then I saw your post.
I think Richie wrote it.
Okay, that's what it was. Whatever. It just touched me. And then I called Richie immediately. I was like, Richie, you and Eli have to come on the show to tell Eli's story. So take it away, my brother. Who wants to go first?
No, Eli's going to go first, but I just wanted to know why I wanted it at least, before he gets into his story, as we talked about, our passions and our love, that was what you will be able to hear some of his story now. But I felt like sometimes we forget how lucky we are to have this gift of music, right? And we take it for granted. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And for a minute, as you'll hear Eli explain, he lost that for a while. So it's important to appreciate it, man. But Eli, for sure, tell your story and I'll fill in the blanks for you where you don't feel like talking no more.
Okay, good.
Which will be hard because he never stops talking.
Especially now.
Especially now.
So Michael, the problem with talking, we always were like, we don't have nothing to say. But now I have so much to say that I don't think you would need a whole day.
Yeah, but Matt, you're going to have to add like 3 more sessions to this so you can get his whole story by the time he's done talking.
I love it. I have no problems with that.
Eric, restart that timer.
No, I was thinking of how to start my story. So when I was in the hospital right afterwards, good thing that Richie this morning told me, hey, I'm doing a journal. So then I went through my journal when I was going through it, and I found like these writings that I was doing at the time. And I think that I want to start with something I wrote during that time. That way you can see the depth of what happened, right? So this is one of the things I wrote. Sometimes in life, we go through things without any reason or end. From my brightest day to my darkest hour, I've always had one thing that has never left my side: the love I have for playing my sax. I can express my joy, my sadness just by holding it and letting the inspiration flow through me. The hardest challenge I have had to face thus far is the stroke, because for the first time, I couldn't move my hand. All I want to do is let my sax turn my darkness into light. My life is music and my saxophone. This stroke has come in and tried to confiscate the very air that I breathe, for playing is my life to me. Wow. So that I wrote probably like 3 months into the stroke, right? and you could see the I was so broken, man, because I didn't expect it. Like I have lived, Michael, if you like, Richie can verify this, I've lived my whole life making sure that I didn't go through something like this because my dad went through it. So I saw how when he went through it, you know, a lot of things happen. You know, you stop doing what you're doing and people kind of forget you because you're no longer in front or leading or anything. So I was like beating myself down on that bed. I was like, oh my God, I don't have my saxophone. The only thing that I could, whenever I was angry or whenever I was sad or anything, I always went to the saxophone. So Nomad, you got to realize, I know you realize, I mean, you out of all people know how valuable that instrument is to you. It's like another person. Do you get me, Nomad?
Oh, absolutely, bro. But the thing is, I get both sides of it. I take it for granted all the time. And this is a great opportunity to, a reminder, don't take it for granted, you know?
Don't, because like, I wasn't somebody, because like I always put it into my saxophone. Like to me, people were good, but people are kind of flawed and you know, I'd rather put it all into my saxophone. Let's put it that way. So I mean, being in that bed, I was paralyzed the first few months. So you gotta imagine how scary that is. That you've tried to eat right, you try to be healthy, and this happens to you out of nowhere, and now all you can do is basically talk because you can't play no more. So there were times, once I got taken home, Michael, Nomad, once I got taken home to the house, I would stare at my saxophone. It's right here with me. I would stare at it and I would say, I'm so sorry. You know, I now that's kind of mental, but when you've done something so long, it's like you become that thing. So I would look at her and I would say, I wish I could play you. I wish I could blow just one note, because I didn't even have enough breath. Like Richie could tell you that I would talk like really low. I'd be like, hey, Nomad, how you doing? Like that. I had no breath. So, you know, with time I built it, but I literally was sitting there just saying, I'm sorry, I can't do nothing. And it tears me apart. And you know, people that go through this, I want to talk to them and I want to reach out to them, because I need to tell them that there is hope. I mean, you know, hopelessness comes in real easy because you don't see no solution. There's no way. I mean, I know we're going to talk about this later, but I'm thinking like, how in the world am I going to play a two-handed instrument with one hand? There's no hope. To the point that Richie suggested one day, get a harmonica, you know. And Richie, remember? And I went and got a harmonica. Smart. But it's not the same. It's like Richie, you jump in and
maybe it was a precursor to kind of get things going, or is that what you were thinking, Richie?
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, I mean, right now, you know, for the listeners and everyone who's going to be listening to this, you hear Eli speaking pretty well, but this is, you know, years in the making, where, I mean, the next day and the weeks and months, we had no clue if he would even be able to speak up again or even move, you know. We go to the hospital every day, you know, to go see him. And it was just like, you know, from one day, you know, being there with me, playing his saxophone, to the next day being, you know, in an ICU room, right? You know, was kind of an extreme, you know. Unfortunately, you know, Eli, actually, when he had the stroke, it was in my house. He was in my house, and he was playing some stuff. We were recording some things, just having a good time. I'll never forget it, because he was at a Robert Glasper concert the day before.
I was. Yeah.
Right. He was out there hanging out late. He was like, bro, I think I'm going to go see you in PA. I was like, yeah. Come by. It's like, bring your horn. We'll do some stuff. Yeah. And as he was playing, he passed out. And I was like, Eli, and that's, you know, through my little talkback mic, I was like, you good? And I didn't hear nothing. All of a sudden, I go back to where the booth was to go get him, and he was on the floor. So, to see him like that into those stages and then move forward, to see him now where he's back to playing is just an extreme that, at that time, you really couldn't imagine it, man.
So I really want to focus on this for a minute. We have to unpack this because it hits me so hard. I'm 48. I'll be 49 in like 6 months, whatever. My father suffered from a stroke. I want to say he was in his early 60s, but he had full recovery with both arms. Luckily, it was amazing. Since then, he's passed. God bless him. He passed earlier this year, or just at the end of 2020. But he recovered from that, and it's like you recovered as well, sans the one arm fully, right? Okay, but my whole point of giving these details is hopelessness. You said that's a dark space.
Oh my Lord.
And I want to talk about that because I think as creatives, we all go through these varying degrees of ups and downs, peaks and valleys. Yes. Today I suck, and everything I do is lame. I can't play. I don't like the mix. I don't like this song, blah, blah, blah. The next day, oh man, I had a great day. What a great gig. This was a great session. I made some money, and we go through these peaks and valleys, right?
Sure.
But none of those peaks and valleys can compare to the valley of hopelessness like you went through.
Yeah, I mean, man, I don't wish anybody to go through it. Like, you really got to be strong. And I'm not saying that I'm strong in character. I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you, Nomad. But you got to have, like, playing saxophone or any instrument can't be just something you do. You got to love that almost till death, because that's the only way that's only the hope that you have. So let me tell you, it wasn't easy. There was many times where thoughts would come into my mind and would be like, you know what, you're better off, in another situation, gone.
Yeah.
So, and there were, you don't even know, there were times where, but the thing is that, the thing is, people know you, right? You have friends that know you, and they come and visit you. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad, but you see the hopelessness in their eyes. Because I had so many people come visit me in the hospital, and it was beautiful. Like Richie could vouch for that. There were so many people that came to see me, but at the same time, they knew what my passion was, right? So I could see it in their eyes, like, oh my God, this guy is gonna do something crazy, because I know that he's a guy that practices 6 hours a day, every day.
Right.
I used to have a day job, and I would still come home and practice, So they knew that, and you could see it in their eyes, the sadness. And you just got to say, I'm okay. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I'm going to go through this, because I'm not going to let this defeat me. Because you still have life. And in life, there's always hope. As long as there's another day, there's always somebody's going to, if you talk to enough people, somebody's going to find some kind of solution. So yeah. I at this point, I want to say, through that year of recovery, I made a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails. I mean, I'm sure people thought I was a stalker.
Oh, see, that's amazing. That's that proactive, motivation, determination that we're talking about.
Yeah, because you cannot lay on somebody coming to help you. You got to do it on your own. You got to find solution. Like, I would email people that I knew used to fix saxophones with my idea how to make a new saxophone that I could play with one hand. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling them, hey. Okay.
Tell us about that. So the recovery phase, you I guess you came to, like, what do you call this? A 75, 80%, 90% recovery, just minus full mechanics of the arm? Or how did that play out?
Okay, let's see. So I wouldn't say that I think I could say 60.
Okay.
Because I still walk with a wobble, and the hand doesn't work, the fingers don't move. You see me talking, but it's because I talk so damn much that's the one thing that recovered.
You look great, Matt. You look great. You're everything. You're animated. I mean, you couldn't tell.
Yeah. And a lot of people say that because you can't wallow. I mean, you're gonna wallow, but you can't wallow in it, because then you're stomping on your recovery.
Right.
You gotta every day tell yourself, today I'm gonna conquer. Like I wrote in one of my notes that I told you that I wrote today I started walking without a wheelchair. That was 6 months in. But my actual thing was I would just get up, take 2 steps, and get back out of the wheelchair. But you see how I looked at it positively? Like I could have said, yo, I'm still in this wheelchair. But no. Then afterwards I said, okay, today I can talk louder. Somebody can hear me finally, you know? So you got to count every blessing, and you just got to keep on taking steps, because if not, it's not going to happen. You're going to stay stuck, and you're going to damper your own recovery.
Amazing. I do. Okay, so
did you always have that positive outlook?
Good.
Or was this brought on because of your situation?
Great question.
So that's a very good question. So most people that know me, I am very positive. I'll find a solution for everything. But what this made when I had the stroke, it amplified it to 1,000%. It made it like, I'm not gonna let this problem bring me down. This is not listen, I used to tell Richie can vouch for that once again, because a lot of things I'm saying, you're going to say, I don't believe it. But I used to tell Richie, if the stroke didn't kill me, nothing in this world is going to bring me down. There's nothing like a car can hit me and I'll say, hey man, I'm not going to die from that because I recovered from a stroke. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way you got to look at it, man. Because this, honestly, no, man, this is like the worst. I mean, I don't want to put so much importance on it because I'm over it a little bit, but really losing an arm, and I would have never in a million years thought that I would lose my hand, because like this is what you do. I would look at, I don't know if you do this, I would look at my hands and I would be like, oh wow, my hands are so nice and they can play all the notes really fast. Wow, like that's the way listen.
Look at my beautiful hands. Look at my beautiful hands.
We have to be real. Like we're doing the finger exercises and we're like, wow, your fingers are so good. Look at them, they're moving. So now I look at my one hand, I'm like, you don't even move. What are we gonna do? Let's find a solution. So there's
you look at the hand and say, "Get a job."
Get a job. You lazy bum.
What are you doing? Stop hanging around. So no, man. I mean, like I said, if I meet a lot of people when I'm walking and traveling, and I try to talk to them when I see that there's some kind of handicap to them, because having a handicap that brings you your esteem, your self-esteem comes down.
Mm.
So if you can see somebody that's recovering or that is at least dealing with it or is going to see the positive of it, then it's good for you. Like I've stopped in the middle of the road, I'm driving and I see somebody with a cane and I can almost tell that they had a stroke. I'll get out the car and I'll talk to them and I'll be like, listen, this is not the end. This is just something new. And I'll tell them. So that happened to me. I met an Indian gentleman and he looked at me. He says, oh, but you're driving. And I said, yes, I'm driving, because you can't give up on yourself. You have to do whatever it takes.
That's right.
And the sickness is only an example of what you should do in your musical life, because in your musical life, you're going to have, like you said, many obstacles, ups and downs. People are not going to like you. People are going to try to put you down for their own agenda, but you have to remain positive and keep on going, because you're not doing it for their love. You're doing it for your love. You know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. I had a great musician tell me once, stop making music for musicians and make music for everybody else. Well, first and foremost, make it for yourself and everybody else. I said, oh, that's a good one. Yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I'm going to give you a side note on Eli, just because Eli was so set out to live a normal life, right? He wasn't going to let this stop him. That crazy man, maybe after a year of his stroke, said, I'm driving cross country and I'm just going to stop everywhere and I'm going to sleep in my car. He had a Planet Fitness Gold membership, so he would find a Planet Fitness everywhere, take a shower, and just drive cross country, bro.
Are you serious, brother?
And I did stay in nice hotels sometimes, but I had to budget the money, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like we need a documentary on Eli.
Bro, there would be so much you can say on Eli. I think that was one of the hardest things about even trying to do this together, because there is so much you can And you know, and I can say this because he's my brother, and you know, we're all friends here. But there's so many stories and things you can say from pre-stroke to even after stroke that still is the same person except did it differently. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So Eli's journey across country was to prove to himself that I'm still normal. I can still do this.
Yeah.
See that,
and he did, bro. I don't know how he did it, but he did. But
no bad. I want to jump in because I can't get all the credit. Richie was on the other side of the phone calls that I made. Mm-hmm. Richie was the guy saying, go. Why did you go? You know how Richie is. He's let's do this thing.
He's he's the world's best encourager. Like, you know what my message is to the world? Everybody needs a Richie.
Yes. Everybody needs, we're going to do it. We're going to get it done.
Yes.
Because the world is full of, you can't do it. You can't.
That's right.
But I got lucky because I got really lucky. Like, so here I go. So, God puts people in your life without you knowing what their value is until it's time. So if you know my life with Richie, I've known Richie since he was 14 years old, right? That's many, many years.
I'm not that old, bro.
Okay, that was last year. But the thing is, we always hang out, we laugh and everything.
Right.
But, and we always were, he's my best friend. And supposedly I'm his second best friend, but that's okay.
Nomad, I told him you're number one, Nomad.
Yeah, right. Because, that's a bunch of bull because he probably tells me that, exactly, whatever.
He told me
he's got a million best friends. I don't believe him.
But Richie has really always been throughout the encourager with everything. Like,
right.
So we worked on an album many years ago. And Richie was gun-ho, we got this. I think you even put a couple songs for the album. I
think so, yes. I do remember that.
Yes, 2006 or something.
Yes.
But, the inner musician in us says it's not good enough. I have freaking Nomad on the guitar, Richie Peña on drums, and I'm saying, oh, man, you know what? It's not good enough.
Bro, we do that all the time. I sit here, I send mixes to Richie. I'm like, Richie, critique this mix. He's like, no, bro, it's perfect. I'm like, no.
Great.
That's a bunch of bull. Find something. He's like, what do you want me to find? Why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know.
That is our journey.
Yeah.
So so now this is where I am at the corner of that room listening to this, and I'm saying, do it. Because one day you might regret it. So can you imagine if I hadn't released, if I hadn't done what I did?
That's right.
Now,
man.
The good thing is we did all that in the beginning, and then I came in and did it now with the one hand thing. But imagine if I had said, throw it away.
Yeah.
Those videos would have never happened because, that was the core of the songs that we had, and we wrote and arranged and put it all together. And I came in with one hand and tried to do something, but it got done.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
So I tell musicians, any idea, just put it out there. Somebody's going to like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, talk about that because I think that's what you guys were posting. Richie was posting the live sessions that you were doing in his studio of you guys playing your album. So, what brought that on? How did you guys, come to that conclusion?
One of the things that we were, Eli just got his saxophone, less than a year ago, which you have to tell people how that came about.
Yeah, I want to hear that. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. But he got it less than a year ago. And we were just thinking, you know what? We'll have a couple jam sessions, rehearse a couple things just to see, you know what I mean? Because literally he had to relearn his instrument. So we were like, come on, man, let's just give it a shot. So Eli lives in New Jersey in this little cabin. It's out there. It's him and the bears. That's it, bro.
That's nice. Eli, that's peaceful, I bet. Yeah.
Super peaceful. So he's out there, and I said, bro, we turned his whole cabin into a rehearsal space. Us and 4 guys that you see on the video, great guys. And we said, we're just going to try this. And we had tried a couple pre-COVID. And then during COVID, once restrictions, we had 2 more, maybe. I think we've gone together maybe 5 times over the last year, if anything.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of a test. kind of pushing yourself to the next level. Okay, let's see if I can do it. All of a sudden, it was something for Eli to be like, yo, I really can still do this with one hand.
Guys, post COVID, I'm coming to the cabin. We're jamming. Me and
yes, bro. Come on, man. The cabin is cool. You'll love it. It's up there in the middle of nowhere. You got the bears, and it's one little room, and making music, man. And that's where we discovered that, or not we, really, Eli himself had to discover it. You know what I mean? As he told you, the journey of us musicians is we're never good enough. We're never good enough. We're never good enough. So he had to discover for himself that I can still do what I do with one hand and still make music. It might be different than what it was before, but it's still able to make the experience, man. So that's how that thing came about.
I love that. Yeah, look, everybody talks about the secret, right? What's the secret? Oh, the secret is this. What's the secret to this? What's the secret to success? What's the secret to making money? What's the secret to being a successful career musician, right? That's the one I always get. What is the secret? There is no damn secret. The secret is determination, perseverance, hard work. There's no substitute for putting in the time. Now, Eli, you just said it, and here's where I want you to go with this. You're emailing people, giving them ideas. You should build this for me. This is how you should do it. So talk about that. How did that come? Because again, that perseverance, that determination, man, money can't buy that.
Yeah. So, and I advise musicians always go at it, fight it, go against the grain, whatever. So I emailed a couple people that I knew had just some instruments. I emailed this guy called Brian Russell in Wisconsin, I think, or Russell Wins, and I emailed him in 2017 November, right? But I didn't hear from him. For 6 months, and then I when I went to California, a friend over there says, you should call one of your friends. Let's call Bobby Franceschini, right? Because he's a friend of mine, and he was a mutual friend of them. And I was like, nah, don't bother Bobby Franceschini. He's busy with Victor Wooten, right? So he was like, no, bro. And the thing with drummers, they're very persistent. They will not let you. They're like, you gotta call this guy. So the guy calls Bobby, right? And he's like, I got Eli here, and he went through something. And Bobby says, yeah, I know. I saw it on his post, and he was like, well, let's talk about it. So I got on the phone with him, and he was like, I got endorsed by, or he was working with Akai. So he was doing something with Akai. So he said, email this person for Iwi. And, then he gave me the number to Russell, to the guy. Same guy I had emailed.
The same guy you already emailed.
Like in 6 months before. I said, but I emailed, he was like, you got to stay on top of it. So Bobby was like, you got to stay on top of it. So then he's talking because he's somewhere in Russia or he's out of the country. And I hear somebody else telling him he should learn how to play with one hand, even the regular saxophone. And it so happens that it was Victor Wooten telling him, because they were right next to each other. So he was hearing the whole conversation. So Victor's like, tell him to play with one hand. That would be incredible. One hand, he could play a regular saxophone. And I'm sitting like, man, does this guy know the extent of my damage to my body? But I took that, we hung up, and I stayed with the numbers, and I emailed the guy one more time, Brian Russell, and then that day was in May, so it took him a year to respond to me, and it's something like that. It took a long time. The whole process was like almost 2 years, but when he finally got it, he was like, "Bro, I'm so sorry because what happened is it went into the junk mail." And he was cleaning out his junk mail or something like that, and he saw my email.
Hold on, we got to park right there, please, man. People, do you hear that? Look, it doesn't mean that the person you're trying to contact is ignoring you deliberately. There's no malicious intent there. It just might be some kind of happenstance.
And listen, we have to pause on that and really figure this out, because people don't automatically want to hurt you or do anything negative. They want to help you, but it has to be at their time, because they have the truth is they're busy too. So when the time comes, they'll get to you. Yeah. So, but I was persistent but I gave it a year. Now that's a little too much, because I was losing faith. So now I was trying to figure out how to fix my electric saxophone. So I have two of them. So I broke it apart. And then when I broke it apart, I realized I only got one hand. I can't do this with one hand. You know, you got to solder and you got to move things around.
So Nomad, you know I'm not a handyman at all. Nomad has known me for so long.
Oh, man.
And he was like, come on, you can learn how to solder. I was like, are you crazy? I can't even like, he was like, no, you just heat this up and I was like, bro, you're calling the wrong person. I was like, no. I like the idea. Just don't call me, bro.
How many Puerto Rican musicians does it take to solder a saxophone?
Exactly.
Apparently more than two.
A lot more than two.
Zero. It didn't get done, right?
It didn't get done.
Never got done.
But
I love that.
So then I like Richie said, I was traveling the country, right? And like I said, I tend to go back to God because you got to look at the life that has happened to me, that I have to say that God was in this, because
Absolutely.
The day that all my money ran out, the day that all the money that I had saved, that I traveled all America, came back home, and I had like, I probably had $2. I'm being very honest with you. Okay. I had $2 and I was with my friend from Newark. He was like, let's go to McDonald's. I was like, yo, I only got $2. And he was like, what happened to all the money? And I was like, it's gone. I used it all up. That day or the next day, I don't remember exactly, but it was very close. The guy from Wisconsin calls me, right? The guy, Russell Woods, he says, I'm so sorry. I saw your text, your email. I'm ready to do your saxophone. So now I'm like, you know, I'm trying to like pay it off. Like I got the money. He's like, you got, you know, he told me how much it was going to cost. The first one he made one before mine, but that one was $30,000.
I thought you were going to say like $5,000-6,000. You said 30,000.
30,000 because he had to build. He built the saxophone like he did it. Like it was and when he said it, I was like, oh.
Bro, the guy had these schematics that he had to rebuild. So he had to program the whole instrument out, and he had to build new schematics. So he had blueprints of everything. Like the guy had to go deep for the first one. So when he figured what it would cost, he was like, "There's no way." It was like $30,000.
Yeah. So the thing is, he says that, right? And inside of me, I'm like, oh Lord, you know, I used up every penny there was on that trip. I don't know why.
And your last Happy Meal you just had.
And you're like,
yeah, which was I even remember it was a McDouble with the soda. It was like that's
a double.
So he, you know, at the end of the conversation, after he shocked me into 30,000, he goes, well, you know, I can do something simpler for 3,000, right? So I'm in my head saying, I don't have 3,000, but I have enough friends that I think could help me. Oh, 4,000. I think 4, I have enough friends. Yeah, it was 4,000. I think I have enough friends to help me with this, right? So I said, yeah, sure. God, you know, and he was like, okay, what are we working on? So I said, well, I have 5 saxophones, but the best 2 is the one that I have, the Mark 6, and I have another saxophone, right? And then he goes, okay, so I've done it on a Mark 6, so let's do it on a Mark 6. So I was like, wait. Before you work out my Mark 6, let me give you a little bit of history of my Mark 6. So I said to him, my Mark 6 was owned by David Sanborn. So,
wow.
So Nomad, you know who David Sanborn is.
Of course, we all, most of us do. I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. So and even meeting David Sanborn for the sax, that was another story. I got stories galore because I've lived all. But I said to him, the Mark 6 is David Sanborn's, and he was like, well, you know, this is something you're gonna decide. Is it David Sanborn's or is it yours? So I'm like, what?
Ooh.
And I said, well, you know what? If anything happens to me, you know, I want my family to have, you know, they can sell it and make money off of it because it's a Mark 6 and David Sanborn, and I have the letter of David telling me, you know, saying, hey, this saxophone is legit. So I was like, finally, he was like, listen, your Amato, which is the next one I have told him, is pretty good. But if you really want to survive this and be the way you were, you might as well go with the best instrument that you have, which is Mark 6. So I said, okay, what can we do? He said, I'll make it so that you can replace it and put it back to normal with all the parts when you're ready to sell it.
Huh.
So you really got to. This guy,
incredible. So that's modular. Then you can bring it back to its original state.
right?
Yeah.
You could but there's another part. So there's a second part because now in January he's gonna add a couple notes that I'm missing. But at this point, I'm like, no, forget about David Sanborn. I love the guy; he's great. This is my saxophone.
This is my.
So he's gonna have to remove like the bottom pieces and make it mine. Basically. Hi, this is Jose Elias, and I am a career musician.
Hey, this is Richie Peña, drummer, programmer, and I'm a career musician.
Follow The Career Musician on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on the latest news and tips from the world's leading musicians.
Download, subscribe, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast platforms.
Wow.
So and then I did a GoFundMe, and that went okay. I mean, I didn't have as many friends as I did, but it's all good. It's all good.
But all your homies are like, yeah, dog, sorry.
Yep.
They're like, we'll buy you your next Happy Meal, but now, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, come on, you're talking about musicians. It's not like you're talking about venture capitalists,
Yeah. They can only support you with the speech, with voice, with talking, but not financially.
I love you, brother. I'll take you to church, but
Oh yeah.
That's it.
But I was like, okay, you know what? There's a way. Like I'm a really good with numbers, mathematical. I'm very good with finance. I worked in statistics, which is very mathematical.
Of course.
So I did some numbers and crunched and sold and did this and got the difference and I got it done. And yeah, I mean, now there's a big problem because there's something you can't fix. So I want you to understand what I struggle with when I pick up this horn here, right? Okay. So Michael, you're dominant what side, right or left?
Right. Right-handed, dominant right.
Right-handed. So you hit the frets with your left hand, right?
Correct. I strum with my right. Correct.
Okay. So now let's make you play guitar with your other side.
It'll take at least 18 months to get it where it's,
Okay.
just to work up to an intermediate level, perhaps.
Okay. So now let's remove
Your pinky.
E flat and D frets from the guitar.
Wow.
Right?
Did you say B, E flat, and
No. E flat and D.
Oh, so that whole little chromatic whole step. Wow.
All that is going to be fretless. So now you have to figure out exactly where it's going to go. So, and then not only that, now I'm going to have your non-dominant hand push the instrument as you're playing those notes. So that's the struggle that I go through every time I play, because what happens is D, E flat, and E have to be lipped. In other words, you have to kind of bend everything to note. So if I hit the D, it's not going to be like before, like bang. It's going to be like I have to bend it up or bend it down depending on the weather.
Like you said, fretless, but fretless with your embouchure.
Like, so I did it like that because you know that sometimes when it's fretless, you don't hit the right, you're a little off or a little. So basically, that's the same concept.
Nomad is always perfect.
Well, you're like a French horn now.
I'm sorry. Nomad is
always perfect. Yeah.
Let me ask Eric.
Eric G just said he's being serious. He said, no, it's like a French horn. You have to do it with your embouchure, right?
Your hand position it within the horn.
Oh.
Right.
So you adjust.
So, look at Mr. School Teacher over here. Mr.
No. So he knows exactly.
He gets it.
But the final problem is my right hand still remembers that it was a man. So my right hand shows up and says, hey, I know where these notes at. You're not gonna. I'm gonna move. So it starts pushing while I'm playing. Like I'm playing D, and it wants to play D. I'm playing E, and it wants to play E, because the muscle memory is still in the hand. So when you lose a part of your body, like people will lose a leg, a limb, there's something called like a ghost. Right?
Yeah.
So
my
where
brother
they don't have
lost his leg. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they lose the limb, but they still feel like they can do it, right? So that's what's happening in my hand. It might not be able to open up and do the notes, but it feels and it thinks is it's playing the note. So now the arm itself is pushing the hand. So I get this. So the saxophone, you put it in straight, right?
Yeah.
Straight in, right? Now the hand pushes the saxophone sideways. So I have to adjust while I'm playing because it's a whole battle thing. But you know what? I'm gonna say that's just an example because at least I can play. At least
There you go.
I love.
Look, dude, Victor Wooten said it, and you did it.
There you go,
bro. End of story.
The only thing that matters is the sound that comes out of that horn.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, you're right.
Man, can I tell you a funny story? The first time I heard the sound come out of that horn, so Eli just gets his horn, right? It gets finally finished.
Yeah.
The GoFundMe happens, everything. He gets the money from here, gets the money from there. We're in New York. We're on 47th and 3rd, where you stood at with me, Nomad.
Yeah.
And we're there, and I say, man, we're on the balcony. I know you know the balcony.
I love the balcony of your pad up there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So we're hanging out on the balcony, and I say, Eli, time to take your sax out, bro. Come on, let's hear it for this third time.
Excited. He's so excited.
Yeah.
He still hadn't played it. And I was like, bro, come on, just take it out. Come on, please. He goes, no, I'm nervous. I said, I'm going to make us some drinks. And when I come back with the drinks, you're going to play me a note, bro. All right?
I love it. By the way, hold on. For you listening, this is classic Richie. This is
right.
Where are our drinks right now?
What the hell is going on, Richie? Where's my old fashioned? By the way, I think we all like old fashioned, the old fashioned crew.
Yes, for sure.
So you bring him his old fashioned.
So we come back, bring out the 2 drinks, right? And I'm super excited. And I'm like, bro, I'm like almost like I can't believe it, right? Yeah. And I'm taking out my phone and I'm trying to put down my other drink, and I'm like, no, I got it. I'm gonna videotape our first notes, right?
Yeah.
And it's like I was like, I got this down, so we gotta document this.
Right.
So bro, he plays his first notes, and I'm like, this is amazing, right? And I'm like, I didn't even think you would get that far, bro. So when I go to hit the record button to stop, it starts recording my feet. And I didn't catch none of it.
Bro, but here's the deal. If you never told us that story, you could have just re-recorded it and we would have known the difference.
So we never, ever caught the first notes. But we remember what the feeling was hearing those first notes, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was one of a kind, man.
Yeah. The moral of the story is be careful when Richie makes you drinks.
Yes, you never know. You never know what it's gonna be.
Yep.
Eli, it's so incredible, bro.
Yeah.
Keep telling us, man. Keep telling us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot that has happened, but the best thing is to any musician, I tell them, don't give up, no matter what. I mean, like I said, the world wants to knock you down. This is the truth. People, I don't want to say haters, but there's people that are envious of your talent because you have, as a musician, you have the ability to change somebody's mood. You're able to create something from nothing. You are empowered to put a situation, a romantic situation or exciting. You are so people don't like that. They're like I grew up with some friends, right? And I didn't find this out when I was a young kid. These friends of mine would always say, "Oh, you suck. You suck." They would be like, "Listen to this guy. He's better than you." Richie knows what I'm talking about. And there's something positive that comes out of it. Yeah. But as a kid, you're growing up and you're like, "Oh my God, I suck," right? Years later, like at least 30 years later, I see my old friends and I'm like, "Yo, you're an incredible musician." And I said to them, "I'm only good because you put me down and I got that good." And then they said to me, "You were never that bad. We were just jealous that you were better than us, so we had to put you down." And I said, wow, what a contradiction on life. Like here I was going home, like basically I was hurt because you're telling me at 17, 18, 16 that I sucked, and right there, you're very impressionable as a teenager. You got your sax, you think you're the man, you walk in and people are telling you, nah, you're not good enough. So-and-so is better than you. So, but you know what? That created the person that I was. That didn't let me. And so when I tell musicians, don't let you don't know nobody else's intention but yourself, your own.
That's right.
So you don't know why somebody tells you something. So they could tell you suck. In reality, you don't suck. They just feel a certain way at the time that this is happening.
Yeah.
So don't be discouraged. Keep on going, moving forward. At the end of it, listen, we make music because we love music, not because somebody else likes us making music.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely.
you write songs because you like writing songs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you write songs for other people, but that's your main thing is I'm sure you go right home afterwards and you're like strumming the guitar. Oh, this sounds good. Let me write something.
Well, actually, as of like 2019, early 2020, I shifted. My whole paradigm is focusing on my music now. So I'm mostly working on my own music. Like I had a career almost 30 years long of working on music for other people. And it was amazing. And I thank God for it. I knock wood, very grateful. Mm-hmm. But now it's time to focus on me. And so to that note, I would challenge people, even if you're working for other people, that's amazing, but always make time for your own music, for yourself, is what you're saying. And I identify with that.
Basically, no matter.
You know, so crazy. Eli, let me say one thing. It's so funny because you and I have always concentrated on making music for others. That's been our career. You know, we were that career musician. Yep. One thing I always admired about Eli, admired always, was that he wanted to be the artist, even though he was offered many times to play for the next. Right. It never was interesting to him. And I was like, bro, you can get on this tour. Come on, you can get on right now. He's like, it's not what I want, man. It's not me. And that's a hard thing because you and I know what that is, you know?
Yes.
And he's never stopped doing that.
No, man, I wanted to say that was very hard. That was of course, you want to be in the limelight, but sometimes you got to understand, you know, like I spent many years just being stepping in whenever somebody needed something, you know, like not really taking the spotlight or anything. It was very different. But it's better that you create your own signature or your own ideas, because at the end of your life, you can say, I played for this person, for that person. But really, what was important, like, I don't know if you saw all the videos we put up, right? But there's one video that I put up called Reflections of That Day, right? Which I dedicated to my father. It's a very simple tune, but it when you listen to it, you see the whole identity of me. Like, it's slow, it's pensive, it's very thoughtful. Richie knows what the song I'm talking about. And I would have never thought of that unless I'd taken the time to really find myself and been able to translate what I was feeling if I was busy doing everything else. And I'm not saying that's bad or good, but sometimes you just got to pause and say, how do I feel musically?
Yeah. I mean, some things are meant for some people and some are not, you know, in the sense of there's guys who would always just rather be, you know, supporting someone. And there's those like yourself who want to create. And sometimes is, you know, you start out one way and the other. Nomad, I feel like you're heading that way, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Yeah. We can't neglect all the great moments we've had with all these other artists, right? But we were what they needed us to be. I think finding yourself, and is what you're talking about, Eli, is, man, that's when you find that moment when you're like, you found yourself. And Reflections of That Day, that song, that is you. You know who you are already with that.
I love that. Eric and I are taking notes. Eric is amazing. He's always taking a million notes for each episode, and I'm adding to it here. Reflections of That Day.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're adding it here. So, and of course, we're going to have all of your links.
Yeah, most definitely going to have to edit Eli's talking 3 hours long.
I think I talk too much.
It's a good thing we don't have old fashions. We go even
No. we would be on here all night. But I do say we do have to do another one of these with that one night. You know, we'll just catch up and talk and go from there.
Hey, Richie, stop cutting Eli off.
No, I have to. If not, no. Can I tell you a funny joke? Here's another one. Sometimes I'll call Eli and it would be to explain to him something. You know, if like Nomad, I call you and be like, hey, I want to run something by you, right? Yeah. And then, you know, we'll talk and you give me feedback and we talk it out. You call Eli, be like, hey, Eli, man, what do you think about this jacket? He goes, you know, I just bought a jacket. Let me tell you about my jackets. And then you have a 2-hour conversation about his jackets. And you be like, bro, I called you about my jacket.
Yeah,
Can you tell me about my jacket?
I need to cut you off right there because at the end, in the last 5 minutes, I always come back and say, so what were you saying about your jacket?
Yes, the last 5 minutes. After 2 hours, he goes.
And by that time, Richie's like, "Oh, never mind."
Bro, I don't even care about the
he'll be like, "What jacket?
What jacket? What are you talking about?"
Oh man!
Oh my goodness! All right. So check it out. So look, a little quick history. Richie and I, like I said, we actually met in Nashville and we started producing a lot of songs for many artists out there. But mostly we were both doing session work. He was programming and playing. I was playing guitar. On a lot of the same artists. So whether it was Toby Mac or Natalie Grant or, Jackie Velasquez, the list goes on. We both very grateful we had great careers.
Yes.
And then I moved to LA and I called him one day and I said, I don't know if you know this story, Eli. You've heard this, I'm sure. Hey, bro, I want you to come and audition for Babyface. I'm his music director, but I can't guarantee you the gig. You can't stay at my house because my wife's not having that. And you got to get yourself here. You got to pay your own way. If you want to come, I was like, bro, if you want to come and hang out, it would be fun. We can have some drinks and eat together, hang out for a couple days. You could do the audition, but I can't promise you, but I really want you to do it. So basically, I really want you to do it, but I cannot help you.
But I can't help you. Find your way here.
He comes out, and sure enough, he got the gig. And I was elated. I was like, yeah, that's my boy. I wanted him to have the gig, but I had to go through Babyface and management to be approved before, and then we ended up working together with Face for, I think you were with us for 8 or 9 years or 7 years, something around there.
About 8 years it was.
We had a blast. And that's where we would always hang out with you, Eli. Every time we come to New York City or New Jersey or Philly, the tri-state area, you'd come and meet us. We'd all hang out. Come on, we've had some amazing times.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have. And the thing is, when you find a group of friends, musical friends that are true and that are just going the same way you're going, it makes it so much easier.
It does.
To me, Matt, is like a different version of Richie, but almost the same kind of spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's party, let's have a good time. I don't mean party like crazy.
I know, yeah.
Let's have a good time. Let's go to have a good time.
Right.
And, that's important because
it is.
I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but it's hard being a musician. I'm going to tell you straight up. I'm not going to lie to nobody.
Yeah.
Yo, it's fucking
love. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. It's fucking hard. And here's the thing, like what I loved about Richie, that's one of the reasons why I always wanted him in a situation that I was working. And Eric and I tell him this all the time. Same thing. When you find that chemistry, that synergy, that's invaluable. You need to hold on to that. Because like you said, it doesn't always happen. And the reason why I loved having Richie on the bandstand with me with Babyface or even just in that environment, I could be a very serious person where it's work. I do not even take time to relax or unwind. I don't care about casual conversation. I just am always working. Richie would be like, yo, bro, you worked enough today. Let's go relax now. I'm like, no, but bro, we should get in the room. We should start programming remember we got that call from that artist. We need to get these tracks. He's like, dude, we'll get them the tracks, but we're not going to do it right now. He's like, we've already worked 12 hours today. Let's start tomorrow with a new day. And I'm like, so having that is extremely helpful. And Eric is my new Richie.
Well, I always have to talk him down the ledge.
Oh yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Or when I feel like the conversation is getting too serious, that's when I'll crack the jokes.
Yes,
I'll remind them that hey, it's business, but it's also music.
Yeah. Good job, Eric. That's needed, Eric.
Oh man, this is fantastic. I love you guys. This is great. Listen, before we wrap things up, Eli and Richie, both you have laid down some beautiful wisdom here, life lessons. And Eli, what you've gone through is just amazing. Talking about the champion story, right? How do you define success? Because obviously, you've had some serious curveballs. So what is your definition of success?
Wow, that's it's funny. I've never thought of like that. Like I think of it as life, like living. The fact that success for me, that's hard, man, because I live every day. Every day is not guaranteed. As long as I wake up and I can play my saxophone and be happy with it, then that's my success. Because when you've done it all, like I've been playing I'm 55, I've been playing since 7, so that's 48 years. 48 years. There's no scenario that shows up now and I've never been in it. It's like when they used to tell me to come in early to church to practice the worship song. I used to be like, did you invent a new chord that I don't know about? I practice everything there is. You don't need me at 6 a.m. Come on now.
You don't need me at 6 a.m.
I'm like, wait.
Let me get my coffee and bagel for crying out loud.
But that's a joke, but it's really, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
So now you're just making music that makes you feel good, that makes you feel happy. My success is I feel good. I'm happy. I'm alive. And if I can talk to anybody to say, you have hope, I have been successful because I've been given a second chance. Not many people, like when I was laying in the hospital, 2 days later, the doctor came in and I very dumbly said, how bad was my stroke? And she looked me straight in the eye and she said, you had a massive stroke. In other words, you don't have your right hand because you had a stroke. You could have died. You're only here because I don't really know. But be thankful. That, because doctors, when it comes to that, they're very blunt. They don't color nothing. They're like, you're going to die. They're going to tell you you're going to die. But she was very blunt. She said, listen, you could be dead. So be thankful that you have what you have. So I am thankful and grateful for people that I know, like seeing you again after all these years, no bad. Yeah. Come on. It puts a smile on my face because I'm able to see you again. If 2 years from now, I'll see Eric and I'll be like, hey, Eric, what's going on? I get to see you again. Yeah. So my success is in that I can encourage anybody and you can look at me and be encouraged because when you see me, you still will see somebody that's handicapped, but my spirit is not handicapped, only my body.
Oh, that's a quote right there. Write that down, Eric G. That's the quote, baby. When
don't speak no more, Eli. That's it. You're done for the rest of the day.
That's it.
When you see me, you see somebody who's handicapped, but my spirit is not handicapped. Wow, that's your episode quote.
I'm gonna end it like that.
That's it.
All right, Richie. Let me just say this.
Drop the mic, Eli. Drop the mic. Just drop the mic. We're like,
let me just
which hand?
Oh, that's a good one. Richie, one thing I've always admired about Eli, yourself, and Richie, you guys have always had a dual life in that you guys were both very gifted in the business world, and you've both held down business jobs as you were doing your music. Richie, I know for a while you took a break from your normal mainstream business when you were doing music, but now you're back in it.
Yeah.
I think similar is for you. I'm going to be honest with you, I was always a little envious of that. I'm like, man, these guys, they're hustling in the music, but in the business world, in the mainstream business world, they're also hustling. And I always looked up to you for that. And it was a good envious. It wasn't like, oh man, it wasn't that malicious thing that you were talking about earlier, but it was always.
They gave you motivation.
Yeah.
And thank you. And that's the whole concept behind the career musician, because I want people to understand that, the career musician, our tagline is make music your business. It's a business. Make it a business. Treat it like a business.
For sure.
Don't take it for granted, first of all, your talent or your ability to play whatever or sing whatever, right? And secondly, treat it like a business. Have a schedule. Wake up at the same time. Do the same thing. Have a routine. Get stuff done. Put goals in place on a timeline. Don't just say, I want to be a great musician. By when do you want to be great? And then let's now define great. You know what I'm saying? Dive deep.
Yeah.
I want to finish this project by this date. So, again, I really admire you guys for that. And, Richie, your turn. How do you define success?
Man, you know what? I've looked at it so many different ways now, even in this past year, and then even my experience with Eli and, kind of the transformation. I now look at it in the sense of, man, just being able to look back and feel great what you have done. It doesn't mean that if you look back and you say, oh man, what I did was great, you feel proud of it, right? It might have not been noticed by anyone, but you still feel great about it. And then there's the opposite, where you feel great about something and it's been noticed by many, but still the success is you feeling proud of it, not who noticed it, but what you feel for it. It could be, we've been in some of the biggest stages in the world, and that's awesome, right? And it's great. People have noticed it, great, but are we proud of that moment? And that's what I look at more of, whether there was the 10,000 people there or not, I was still proud of that moment. And I still enjoyed it, So, and really, to piggyback off of what you said, the success, not only in the business world, but in the music world, we've come to learn that it's all the same, man. You and I have had conversations, the same craziness that we go through in the music business is the same craziness that you have in the medical field and and if you own a car lot, if any type of business that you have still has that, one of the things that for sure, how they always say the left brain, right brain, right? One's the creative, the other one's the analytical, and you got to make sure you always put both hats on, to survive in the music world, because you have all the talent in the world. If you can't manage your next check to go to the next place, you done for it. It don't matter how talented you are.
That's right. If you can't balance your budget, baby, you are
you're done. So it takes both, for that career musician, man. And once you're able to kind of balance both and look back, that's your success right there, man. To be able to have the love and still be able to,
I love
hang out together, talk, enjoy. Every moment counts, man.
I love it. Fellas, this has been a treat for me personally, because I have such a great personal relationship with you. But I think for those listening, it's going to be equally just as much of a treat. The champion story, Eli. Yeah. So grateful. So grateful. Thank you both.
It's a pleasure, man. It's such a pleasure.
Us, man.
We're not letting you go that easy. We're going to play a little game.
Man.
All right. Before you know what the game is, who wants to go first?
Eli.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, good. Eli.
Wait. Yeah, this game is what?
It doesn't matter. You're going first.
I don't like to play games I don't know.
All right. Yeah, and you got to do it standing on your head with one hand behind your back. Now, okay, here we go. All right,
it's gonna be entertaining.
We're just going to do some rapid fire questions. So I don't want you to think, though. You just have to answer quickly. Now,
that's normal.
Good. Now I got my cue cards, just like David Letterman, right? Old school, right? Talk show style. And Eric G has a timer. All right, we're gonna time you. We're gonna give you 60 seconds on the clock.
Ooh. For each question, or for the whole thing?
For the whole thing, sir. Each question. He's like,
yo, you ain't giving a seminar here, bro. You giving a seminar?
You want to be here for another 75 minutes? What?
I got my tablet right here, and I'm ready.
Visible? Can you guys see this clock?
Turn on the clock. Let me see if
no, we can't.
No, we can't.
All right, we're still working out the kinks on this, but we're gonna get it. But for us, we're gonna still have it.
Yeah, no, you have it, and you just tell us when to shut up. Yeah. That's it.
Hey, Eric, if you just could go like click.
Oh, no, I see it right there. There it is. 1 minute.
Now you can see it? Yeah.
Yep.
Let me see, because I don't see it. Let me see.
Yeah, right there. Perfect.
See where I'm pointing?
Yep,
see where I'm pointing?
Okay.
You see my hand, right?
Yes,
I'm pointing to it. See it?
Yeah, we see it.
Good. All right, you ready? All right, I like this. Okay, hold on. Richie, will you do the honors? We need a drum roll here.
Okay.
All right. Oh, that was your drum roll?
You don't hear it? It's like, I was tapping on something.
That's a better drum roll. I say you're fired if that's your drum roll. Though. You're a drummer.
I was tapping on something, thinking you could hear me.
All right, here we go. You ready? Okay. Eric, count us in, baby.
In 3, 2, 1.
An instrument you wish you played.
Damn, bro. Hurry up. Eli.
Yeah, piano.
Hidden talents.
I play piano and all the instruments. Most of
your friends say you are
talkative.
Last concert you attended.
Robert Glasper.
Favorite decade of music.
80s.
Last movie you saw. In the theaters.
In the theaters? I don't go to theaters.
Dream collaboration.
You and me.
Oh, I like it. Guilty pleasure.
Eating.
Favorite food.
Panin.
Wait. Hold on. We're at it.
There.
Bro, I wish people could see you flipping those cards, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. We still got time.
6 seconds.
Favorite drink. I thought we were out of time. Sambuca.
There goes the
I
timer.
can't believe I did it. Oh.
And no, man, you know this drink. So you know that I like this drink.
That's right. I forgot.
Great. You realize we have to collect these for Richie, right?
Oh, wow.
All right. Hold on.
52 car pickup.
We're gonna make believe this never happened.
Just like the video that you did and didn't do.
And didn't do, yes.
Right.
All right, Richie. I got you. Here we go. Coming up. Oh, I know the first question I'm going to ask Richie. I know what he likes here. He is like my. I'll just say this: when we were on tour, all the years that we were on the road together, we were never tour, but we do like little weekend runs.
Mm-hmm.
Richie would always take me to H&M. Wherever we were,
Yeah.
this mofo would be like, bro, I got the H&M on lock. I know what it is.
I gotta go one. Let's go get some t-shirts.
Let me just say this. We were in Montreux playing the Montreux Jazz Festival.
Yes, we did.
With Babyface, but we're hanging out with everybody, including we hung out that night. I'm name dropping like a mofo. We hung out with Quincy Jones at his club in Montreux.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But before that, right? I think it was either after sound check or before sound check or something, whatever. Richie's like, "Come on, bro, I found an H&M."
Yo, it's Switzerland.
It's Switzerland, Montreux. We go to H&M.
Yes.
All right, you ready? With that, on that note, Richie, here you go.
In 3, 2, 1.
Shopping online or in store?
In store.
All right. What entertains you?
You.
Studio or live?
Live.
What would you do if you weren't a career musician?
I would tell jokes.
That's a good one. Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant.
Quick.
Viaggio's.
Electric or acoustic?
Acoustic.
Driver or passenger?
Driving for sure.
Favorite city? I already know. New York.
New York. That's right.
Musical guilty pleasure.
Woo. Smooth jazz.
Top 3 artists in your playlist.
Mark Anthony, Alejandro Sanz. And then, oh man, do I have a third? Random. I would have to say George Benson for my father.
I like it. Hidden talents.
None.
Name 3 tour essentials.
Oh my lord. Suitcase, laptop, toiletry bag.
Oh, he did it!
Wow.
Hey, one last one. Favorite person in the room?
Oh my lord. Eric G.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, Eli, he did us both, man.
The 2 of us. I can't believe it.
I couldn't split the baby. Eric had to be,
Like, you can't cut the baby in half.
Can't cut the baby in half, so Eric was my choice, man.
This is awesome, man.
Dude.
What a good time, fellas. Now I'm gonna make Eric G clean up all those cards for the next
There
interview.
you go. There you go.
My
How
brother,
many you guys got lined up for today?
we have one more after this. So
Nice.
we usually do 2 a day. Yeah.
Oh man, well, you know what? I normally and Eric, you don't know this, but Eli and Nomad know. I always like to be the support. So I'm happy that I was able to support
Yes.
Jose Elias Pagan today, man.
That's right. My brother, Jose Elias. Yes, bro.
I feel like we're all kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit. So this was fun.
And I want to say thank you, Nomad. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Richie. I mean, you guys are incredible. And to be honest, I've always looked up to you, Nomad. Especially, and it was an honor to have you on my album that never came out. That's now coming out.
It's gonna come out now. Yeah. So where can everybody find you online?
Okay, so you can find me on. I have a website, EliSax.com. EliSax.com.
Mm-hmm.
So in there, I have the videos I put up. I also have the sound clips You can download them, and everything is for free this time around because the music I created is for the people, so they can just download it. It's theirs. You know, I of course I made them. Me and Richie, we worked on it. You worked on it, but you know, we made it for them, so they get it for free.
Love
There's no 99 cents. There's a 150. There's no Amazon. It's just
nothing. It's free. Take it.
But it's going to be available for streaming on Spotify and Apple and all that stuff.
Yes. Yep. It will be.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Your manager has spoken. Your manager has spoken.
My manager has spoken. He is also my best friend. But Michael, really, thank you because
of course, yeah.
You know, but if the voice of encouragement can get out there to your audience, to the musicians, you know, this is something special because I grew up in a time, and you did. We had nobody saying it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes and to move. You know, so you're doing an incredible service. So I have to commend you. And if I had two hands, I would clap. I only got one, so I'm just gonna pat my head if I did. But thank you, man. It's an honor.
You're welcome. Thank you, man. You know what? That's a great one. That's Carl Ridland, a fantastic session musician, composer, orchestrator out here in Los Angeles. We interviewed him earlier last summer, and he said, you know, sometimes we just need permission. So he said to me on the Zoom interview, he goes, "Nomad, I give you permission." And that's what you just said. Sometimes you just need that little nudge of encouragement and that permission. So everybody listening, go forth and do it.